This is just odd. Honestly, she's the worst, and I'm gonna put something out there. Awful woman doesn't even come close to what we've all seen about her and her family on TV. We've all seen them transition. And in recent times, the OG3 have at last discovered their voices to cry foul about her. But come on, seriously, awful. Come on, it takes significantly more than that to account for her conduct. Let's speak about the manner in which she's dealt with Kody's kids, the way she's manipulated her own kids into believing themselves to be the victims in this entire situation. And don't even get me started on her rewriting history, asserting the family embraced her and her children with open arms, only to spin and claim they were never accepted. Classic move. And then there's the way she's managed to convince Kody that out of 4 women only, she really understands him. Really, she's 25% of the female voices in that marriage. One strong voice for a person so shy. Sure, a mistress whom the wife is unaware of. That's worst case. A woman who poses as your friend, all sweet and loving in her speech, providing friendship and assistance, then turns around and calls your children jerks. Yeah, no, terrible doesn't even begin to describe it. Rant over sorry people, lol. And by the way, I corrected the spelling, rearranged the words, and it makes so much more sense. To be honest, Dad had been jerks about some of the kids. Honestly, I thought she would have been smart enough to stay out of the drama between other mothers, their kids and their dad. But guess not. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Ariella here, and welcome back to my channel TLC Next Reveal. Honestly, Robyn was just a glorified mistress. Let me explain. If you believe in polygamy, it only works when everyone is on the same page, living similar stages of life together. Take, for example, newlyweds, welcoming kids, raising kids, adjusting to plural marriage, becoming empty nesters, growing old, dealing with health issues. All of that is experienced as a unit. But here's the thing. You can't possibly think that bringing in a new wife after 16 years and then attempting to begin a completely new phase of life with her while the other wives are fairly established in their own stages is a good idea. For Kody to essentially hit the reset button and begin from scratch with a new woman while the other wives sat around and watched him do, it was crazy. It was like seeing a husband cheat, except nobody was faking. It wasn't occurring. Suppose you're at home dealing with your pregnant daughter and your husband is out of town getting another woman pregnant. Or you're just on the verge of being an empty nester, but he's over there with toddlers. You've been married for decades, and he's now returned to being a newlywed. It's crazy. How could any of those women have anything to do with him, let alone with Robyn? How could they not be jealous, especially when they're living completely different lives? Kody had to begin anew from scratch to catch up with Robyn where she was, when so much had already been built with the other wives. Things were going smoothly. The family structure was established, and then bam, a whole new wife, and everything is turned upside down. It's a recipe for disaster, and there's no way a plural family gets through that kind of upheaval unless it's full of suppressed feelings and unspoken resentment. In fact, it was just an approved affair. And let's be precise, Robyn didn't step into this new role due to a time gap. She stepped in believing she was the authority on polygamy, playing as if she were the sole one who truly comprehended Kody. I would be livid if I were one of the other wives, and I would not have any qualms putting her in her place. And by place, I mean out the door. It wasn't all about the age gap either. Robyn came along when the family were on the verge of prosperity, which only fueled the gossip that she never paid her dues. She wasn't around in the dirty early years when the family were fighting for survival. Kody is the quintessential example of what the Dutch refer to as a second brood dad. That's a man who has children with his first wife. And then when those children are in their late teens or early 20s, he abandons her for someone younger and begins a whole new family. Typically, this guy didn't do much of the child rearing with the initial set of kids. He was too busy advancing his career, but with the second brood, he's all in, carrying babies in slings, picking kids up from school, trying to look young and involved. Kody found his second chance family with Robyn, and it keeps him feeling young, like he's got another shot at life. After all, when your kids are growing up, it's a reminder that you're getting older too. So having a second set of kids with Robyn is like hitting the reset button for him. But here's the kicker. Kody doesn't even like kids all that much. He'll claim Ariella is the best kid ever. But let's be real, deep down, he's probably annoyed by her. I mean, he literally called her a pest once, and his true emotions slipped through. This entire mess is what keeps us all so enthralled by Sister Wives. Even if we never practiced polygamy ourselves, we can identify with the emotional turmoil, marriage, remarriage affairs, vying for attention and support, fighting for your children, recognition, dividing property. It's all the same emotional fallout, just in a different context. Oh, did anyone else notice Kody and Robyn never brought her children to Tony and Melty's visit or to Gwen's party? Interesting. Appears the only ones actively excluding them from the family are Kody and Robyn themselves. Classic move, right? If Kody and Robyn even bothered to bring their kids, the original crew might gasp, make them feel like part of the family. But nope, can't have that. They'd discover the truth. They've been given a bunch of lies about how everyone really feels about them. And for the record, Robyn's 3 oldest kids, they're adults in their 20s with cars and phones of their own. If they actually wanted to come, it absolutely wouldn't be a problem. So yeah, it's nothing to do with distance or hassle. It's more likely they aren't precisely over the whole gay trans thing, which isn't exactly surprising. They originally dismissed the invitation, despite being in the same town, then mysteriously appeared out of nowhere. At the last minute, I'm assuming that was more for the cameras than anything else. Hey, did you arrive safely? This basic question struck me like a ton of bricks, and I couldn't help but feel a pit of despair for Meri. Let's face it, I haven't exactly been her biggest supporter for a while. But in the last episode, when she said how she's been living a lonely life for years, she dropped a bombshell that really got to me. For almost the last decade, I've essentially lived a single life. I don't remember the last time I reached a point where someone checked in on me and was like, "Hey, did you arrive safely?" I look forward to the day when I fly somewhere and someone checks in and says, "Hey, are you okay? Did you arrive?" My heart literally broke for her. I think back to when her mom was dying or had just passed away, and not a single person was there to take her to her mom's house. She was breaking down emotionally, and here she was allegedly in this large, loving family and married. Yet she had no one, not even an ex-husband, who would step up in a situation like that. Honestly, even in divorce, most people would at least provide a ride for something like that. And Kody, yeah, he should have accompanied her, if for no other reason than to demonstrate some respect to his mother-in-law of 20 years. But no, he can't even manage that little amount of decency. Kody has zero compassion, respect, or any regard for anyone but himself, Robyn and her children. I live for the day Meri finally snaps at Kody for the way he's treated her and finally stands up for herself. Call me naive, but I'm still holding out hope it'll happen. Kody's face when Ariella by accident hit the truck with her shovel in the course of their snow play was priceless. It was obvious that he was this close to losing it, ready to blow on her. But then he snapped himself, most likely because the cameras were rolling. But I think there's more at play beneath the surface. Ariella is on the verge of leaving her sweet childhood behind. She's nearly in middle school now, as many have noted, including the OG 3+ kids. Kody gets bored with his children and mistreat them once they begin thinking for themselves. Observing Ariella's actions, it's rather clear she's never actually ever been on the receiving end of a good yelling from either Kody or Robyn. She's likely been enabled at every corner, even when she's misbehaved. And that little face crack moment where she struck the truck, that's a look at how Kody speaks to all his children. Once they reach double digits, with the exception of Robyn's oldest, he's all about instilling fear, making them feel bad, and establishing his dominance. But now that the younger children are maturing, we're beginning to see the true Kody, a man who's less worried about appearing like a saint on television and more concerned with his desire to dominate. It's his own fault. Really, why would anyone provide a rowdy 7-year-old with a metal shovel, a broom perhaps, but a metal shovel? If snow play is going to be a staple, Kody needs to invest in some plastic shovels. Ariel is going to be a handful. She's had no boundaries, no set bedtime. She's essentially been given free Renee. I can already see it. She's gonna be the sassiest, most rebellious of them all. She's gonna push Kody at every turn, and we all know how he reacts to that. If she should challenge him, you can bet he'll turn on her in a flash. I suspect Ariella's nature will come more around Kody's corner. And let's be honest, she's had more of his focus since birth than anybody else. That is to say, she's going to have accumulated a great deal of his behavior, and she'll employ it. She's not going to become a societal threat, but I think she's going to be a terror to Kody and Robyn. Watch out. Kody, your mini-me is on the way. Kody, in all his glory, nonchalantly asks David, "How old is your oldest child?" And let's just take a moment to appreciate the sheer comedy of that. Honestly, I've always thought Kody couldn't spout out his kids' names and ages in sequence if you asked him out of the blue, let alone recall their birthdays or any mundane facts about them. So, seeing this exchange happen was money. It was an ideal, inadvertent demonstration of just how absent Kody truly is in his children's lives. It really did feel like Kody was trying to dredge David's age out of him through some creepy, uncomfortable line of interrogation. Way to go, Kody. Nothing like flaunting your own insecurity in front of both your ex and the new guy. And let's not forget Robyn, who's sitting there, smugly smirking at the whole thing. Robyn, you're the shy and kind one, right? Because most adults don't act like they're in middle school, making snarky comments about someone's age and trying to start some weird competition between kids and grandkids. Honestly, these two couldn't even pull off a decent roast if they attempted. It was only humiliating. You know, Robyn's hardly the good looker. Not that it ever makes much of a difference. In my humble opinion, Christine and Janelle were always the ones who really are pretty, but who really cares what Robyn looks like? She serves Kody, so she must obviously be the pre-one in his mind. Seriously, I don't believe Kody's ever once even looked at one of his wives and said, "You're beautiful." Nope. In his head, he's the best-looking one in the room. Always. I mean, Kody once called his shy little Robyn pretty while shooting a shot at Christine, because clearly Christine's ugly flamboyance is too much to deal with. He even went so far as to call himself a hunk. Unlike David, you know, that other guy who doesn't have a chance. It's all some sort of crazy competition to him. He's actually jealous of Christine because she's dating someone new, someone with money, and let's face it, someone the kids will likely like more than him. I think they're all fairly, though. Then again, I think most folks are, because beauty really is in the eye of the beholder. But to Kody, Robyn's the sacred cow. She's untouchable in his eyes. To me, however, she's just a middle-aged sad sack who complains more than she smiles. Honestly, if a person's constantly harboring ugly thoughts, eventually it shows. And if you persist day after day, Year after year, it just gets uglier and uglier until you can hardly bear to look at it. Maybe that's why Robyn looks the way she does. Maybe she's got the ugly thoughts on their toes. Kody's remark about Gwen. Seriously, WTF, Kody? It's difficult to call it loving and non-judgmental. When you remark your daughter's coming out wasn't articulate enough just because she's got a thing for both sexes. Good job, homophobic asshole. What he likely really meant was that she didn't do it on national television, so he could profit from it. But sure, let's play like it's because she did it wrong. Let's see. Here's the clincher though. Gwen literally said the same thing to Robyn. She told Robyn that she should have saved the whole coming out ordeal for the cameras. Typical as a gay individual, it actually hit me when Kody pulled the God, told me it's my job to judge and your job to love line. Like what even that sounds like. He's saying God thinks being gay is wrong, but Kody just needs to love people anyway. Really, because, oh, what about the other things? God might judge, like, I don't know, Kody's business practices. You know, funneling money from his wives and abandoning his kids. If there's a God, I'm positive he sees Gwen and Leon for what they are, good, kind-hearted people. Meanwhile, Kody's heart far from it. Gabe desperately needs a good role model, huh? In last week's episode, when Gabe and David were talking about how David and Christine met, did everyone else see that look in Gab's eyes? The huge smile, I swear it was pure happiness, as if Gabe suddenly thought, hey, maybe I finally have a father figure to look up to. It kind of felt like he was thinking he was going to get the love and attention he's been lacking since his dad dropped the ball. But hey, maybe that's just me. What do you all think personally? I didn't think Gabe was just glad for Christine. I mean, come on. Christine's husband stepping into some sort of father figure to Gabe. Not likely. Gabe's an adult, and David's just around for family events. I know Kody's a mess, but I don't think the Brown kids are precisely out there, prowling looking for a father figure. Even Christine's own children have said they just see David as her husband, not their stepdad. Honestly, I believe Gabe was just having fun meeting someone new. Being social and friendly, having a good time. I don't think he was sitting there thinking, oh great, here comes my new dad. It simply seemed as though he was having a nice conversation. Nothing more. No profound emotional anticipations there. How did Janelle, the so-called financially prudent one, end up here in the meantime? Kody and Robyn are living it up in a $2 million mansion. Obviously having solved the secret to profiting from everyone else's disaster. Meri, well, she made a killing with Laro at one time, bringing home a cool $70,000 a month. She's living large, not even remotely bothered with getting back what she lost from CP, as long as Kody's the one driving the moving truck. And let's not forget that Meri's always had a taste for lavish homes. Christine's doing pretty well too, having made some equity from selling her house. Now remarried, she's got her new husband's salary, and they've been checking out good homes. But Janelle, she's been jumping from one depressing living arrangement to another, and has, let's be real, nothing to show for being on TV for more than a decade. She can't even start her flower shop off without selling merchandise first. Oh, and let's not forget what she invested in Robyn's mansion. She didn't even demand having her name on the deed. If it all went belly up, make it make sense. The reality is they're not exactly money geniuses. If someone does their taxes, they most likely receive credit for being the smartest in the room. Janelle's made a whole bunch of questionable financial choices. Throughout the years, Kody was her kryptonite, and she fell for every single word that came out of his mouth. I used to believe she was the one actually controlling the finances, but now I'm beginning to think she just knew how to work TurboAx. They enjoy putting Janelle out as the financially wise one, but in fact she's merely the least worst with cash, which really isn't saying much. Sure, she's made some smarter financial decisions here and there, but she's also made some ginormous mistakes. as if that was a huge one. Let's not forget the RV and then the humongous truck they had to tow it. That might actually be the worst one. If we're being honest, Janelle's the one who's largely picked the awful living arrangements. Even though Kody got angry, she didn't go for better rentals. But hey, with money from the show and her Plexus job, she appears to be doing all right. She's always flying to North Carolina on vacation and even purchased a large tract of land there. So is she the logical intellectual? She presents herself as not really. She's just cheap dodges conflict and sometimes gets a whim to do something new. Let's not forget what Janelle said last episode. She's just the bookkeeper, and there's a world of difference between coordinating the logistics of money and actually making decisions about what to do with it. She received credit for ensuring the bills were paid, which, let's be real, is the bare minimum, absolute bare minimum for someone who's supposed to be working with finances. I'm not here to pull her down. I understand she loved her family and was trying to make ends meet. But the reality is, there was no long-term financial plan, and she didn't actually have control over the money, just the smallest amount of oversight. Let me know in the comments what you think. Don't forget to give that like button a click and subscribe to my channel. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care and lots of love to you all.